Chicago today, and this week is voting on a budget.
Brendan Johnson's budget for next year will be up for a vote later today.
This comes as the city council still has a lot of questions about the cost of the migrant crisis. MC5's Lisa Chavarria joining us this morning. So, Lisa, what are we hearing from some of those aldermen?
There are concerns about money. That's really what it's coming down to, guys. So there are questions about how much money the taxpayers are going to be on the hook for. The city council will have the chance to vote on that issue, among others, as part of the mayor's budget today. In that budget for next year, Mayor Brandon Johnson is setting aside $150 million to help with the migrants. So far this year, the city says it's spending $40 million a month to help the new arrivals.
All right, so I'm not the sharpest knife in a tool shed, but this is the Millionaire Morning Show, so we do got to do a little bit of math. I know that y'all didn't like math when y'all was in school, and y'all keep talking about, man, they doing new math now. No, math is math, and the math ain't mathing when we starting to do the numbers and we crunching it. So first and foremost, they're saying that Mayor Brandon Johnson set aside roughly $150 million just for migrants. Okay. That's point A. Point B is currently they're spending upwards of over $40 million a month for migrants. Okay, so if my mental math is correct, that means that you're spending upwards of between $480 and $500 million a year outside of what you've already had allocated for city services, police departments, administrative services, garbage pickup. So you are already over budget by $500,000, and I've seen reports where they've been over budget by the amount of over $600 million already. When Lori Lightfoot was in office, they were projecting a budget deficit of over $80 million, but they're spending an additional $40 million a month. Let's just grasp the gravity of what we're saying right now. 40 million, not 40,000, not $40. I know that that's the going price of the brick. When it started to get a little rough out here, she giving it up for $40. We're not talking about $400,000 a month, which that would be crazy in itself because that's the equivalent of almost $5 million a year. No, we're saying that they're spending an additional 40 Chicago. Let's pay attention here. This is just Chicago. 40 million a month. Right now, today, over 600 million budget deficit, and we don't know what it's ballooned to right now because everything is reactive, right? So we don't know. And then he's trying to set aside $150 million of the current budget that would have went somewhere, so they had to trim that out of the budget, or they had to raise prices in order to make sure that they pass that expense over to the taxpayers for migrants. Okay, so the math ain't mathing. I don't know if he's ever went to business school, opened up a business, and this is what I believe that one of the criteria for politicians in order to get elected into office, where they have to do a balanced budget. If you're doing a balanced budget, if you are to become a politician, you cannot just be a city, civic, neighborhood project leader. You have to have good moral compasses, ethics. You should have to at least understand business, open one, went to business school, something. Because if you don't understand how money works, how can you successfully run what is basically a Fortune 500 type of company in an entire city where you're requiring so many different people and so many moving parts and paying people, and then also budgeting for crises in order to be successful? How? The math doesn't seem to be lining up, and the budgets is messed up. Meanwhile, they're still raising property taxes on the citizens while they don't even own their own streets. Make it make sense for me.
That's bringing up concerns from some aldermen. Here's what two of them had to say about the amount being proposed.
I think it's an accurate assessment of what the city can put up right now in this moment. I think we need more investment from the state. We need more funding from the federal government. We are continuously.
You don't go and beg for more money. Listen, that is the equivalent of, hey, listen, Anton, you a grown man. You can't fix it. You can't hack it. You got a child. I'm going to go over to my mama as a 40-year-old man and ask her for more money. You see why that don't make sense? You can't borrow your way to success. You can't go to daddy government over to Biden and say, hey, we can't balance our budget in the city. We need more money. No. You deal with it accordingly. You don't go and beg for more resources and then force all of us to have to contribute into what you're doing. We have to cut off the faucet, cut off all of the government assistance, and force people to make a better decision not to become a sanctuary city, to close off our borders, to be working. And when they have the ear of the president, they need to be advocating for things that are in our benefit instead of reactively asking for money because they're unable to be able to balance their budgets in the first place.
Being told that we anticipate the federal government, the Biden administration, to step up and pay its fair share. But if we're not asking them to declare an emergency, we're really going to hope that they come back later out of the goodness of their heart and to pay for the expenses incurred by the taxpayers of the city of Chicago.
So they don't even have a guarantee, which they shouldn't be going over to the federal government anyway, but they don't even have a guarantee from Biden himself that he's going to help them shore up their budget, which there is no end date by which they can support migrants. So how long do you support them before they're able to get off the nipple and be able to support themselves? Since you wanted to bring them in and make yourself a sanctuary city, is this also going to happen in 2024, 25, 26, 27, 28? When? When do you cut off the faucet? When do you stop and realize that the math is no longer making sense and I have to do things a little bit different? Because they can't just tax y'all to death. Taxes are literally a scam. I'll get into that in a little bit. That's not a part of what it is that I want to talk about right now. Taxes are a scam to me. Real talk. When does it stop? When do we start having an honest conversation with ourselves to ask ourselves the question as to why we continue to vote the way that we do for people that don't have our best interests at heart, A, and don't understand how to run a city effectively, B? Meanwhile, that's what they're putting together from a budget allocation for dealing with the migrant crisis going forward. And this is what the migrants are doing.
A bus of brand new arrivals pulls up at the 12th District Police Station today. While migrants continue to arrive daily in Chicago, the amount is not nearly as many as it was over the summer when daily bus arrivals were in the double digits. Today, the city is expecting only 2 buses. Volunteer Luciana Diaz says the Halloween day snow was a reality check for many living at the police stations.
The snow day, it was freezing for everybody, and I told them that's nothing. This is nothing, guys. You should start looking for a shelter or go to other state, other city.
With the realization.
Wait. Did y'all hear what she said? When you let people suffer, this is what Luciano, what was her name again? Let me see what her name was. Luciana Diaz. Luciana Diaz. You finally got a translator over there, and Luciana said, listen, guys. This is nothing. You haven't seen anything yet. You over here, you just got a little bit of snow. They call this the Windy City because it's going to get bad out here. She said, listen, y'all, word for word, the words that came out of her mouth. She said, look, y'all better find a different state. You better go back home. You're going to have to figure out some better weather. But I'm telling you, it's going to get bad out here in these streets. That's what Luciana said to him. Luciana said that to him. She said, listen, you got to find a warmer climate. Now, one of the reasons why people move over to the West Coast and why homelessness is so rampant over into the West Coast is because of the weather. So the weather over in California, for example, is a gift and a curse for people that can afford to live there, especially in places like San Diego. The third warmest place in the wintertime in the United States of America. Number 1 is Hawaii. Number 2 is Miami. And number 3 is San Diego. People go there because they can survive, and it's much easier for them to be able to be homeless in the wintertime or when the weather gets a little bit dicey and a little bit shaky. And so the reason why you see 2 buses is because the ones that was already there, she said they phoned a friend home. She said, listen, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough when it still really starts snowing. So they phoned a friend. They phoned home. Somehow they was able to tap into that technology, and they phoned home and they said, look, guys, we might want to pick a different sanctuary city or a different location where we can thrive. And it went from 20 buses a day to 2 buses. When you let people go through things or you let people suffer, they start to make adjustments.
You should start looking for shelter or go to other state, other city.
With the realization of a cold winter ahead, combined with the lack of shelter and jobs,
Woo!
many migrants we spoke with at the 1st and 12th District Police Stations say if given the opportunity, they would leave Chicago for another city. Diaz says some migrants even want to go back to their home country.
It's so bad. They said, listen, hey, Chi-Town, the people of Chi-Town, I know y'all saying that y'all don't want us here. We don't want to be here either. They said, look, if we had other options, you think we'd be standing this POS? We don't like your skin color. We don't like your mayor. We don't like your schools. We don't like your weather. If I had it's so bad in Chicago that they going back home after allegedly trekking through the jungle. They said that they was trekking through the jungle. People was dying. You know a city got to be bad. You know a city got to be bad when they said that I would rather go home and suffer than live here in Chicago. I have never heard such a thing in my entire life. I have never heard people that ain't got a penny to their name, can't even rub 2 nickels together in order to be worth 10 cents, said that it's so bad in this city and it ain't even got cold yet that we would rather go home or leave this mother effer than to stay here in this POS. We don't want to be here. Y'all don't want us here, and we don't want to be here. Usually we would endure, but it's so bad, and they carjacking people over on the north side and the south side that we willing to go. Some of these people said, look, bro, we lived through the jungle, and it ain't nothing like the rack. Ain't nothing like Chirac. I will deal with a corrupt government, war, famine, but at least we got good weather.
I have an American dream, for in my opinion, is a fake American dream. So if they asking me a lot for if I know somebody who can buy a ticket flight for them to come back to Venezuela.
6-word.
Dog, she said they're asking them. They're asking the volunteers. I ain't never heard of no junk like this in my life. They asking the volunteers, do you know any way that we can get a ticket back home? Anybody that flies back home. Do Spirit fly over there to Venezuela? Do Spirit fly over there to Venezuela? They said we want to deal with the cartels. We'll deal with drug trafficking, human trafficking, all kind of trafficking, and we ain't even got no traffic lights up in this boy. They said, bro, do you know somebody that can get us a flight back home? I ain't never heard of no junk like that in my life. Never heard of no junk like that in my life. We don't want your schools. We don't want your health care. We don't want your weather. We don't want your women. We don't want your men. We don't want Mayor Brandon Johnson. We don't want your aldermen. We don't want nothing that y'all got to offer over here in Chicago. If you could just spare a little bit of change, sir, in order to get me back home, I would be very, very grateful as a result of it. I ain't never heard no junk of this in my entire life.
Alderman Will Hall, who traveled to the border a few weeks ago, says word is spreading on social media among migrants that Chicago may not be the best place to come. And border nonprofits say not as many people are asking to come to Chicago.
People are beginning to get informed that it's cold, the opportunities are scarce, and that unless you want to sleep on a concrete mattress, don't come. And that's what those who have come seeking asylum have said.
Jorge Barrera has been living at a police station for 6 months.
Ooh, we got that fresh cut and that fresh lineup, though. Who your barber on the street? Okay, Jose. And we don't even know if that's your real name, big dog.
With no opportunity to work here, the 39-year-old says he would leave, but he doesn't have the money or luxury to pack up and go to warmer places like California, Texas, or Miami.
California, Texas. Listen, Jose, that's over here getting his hair cut. They trying to go to the same place that all of the city girls is going to. They trying to get to the same place you trying to get to. You trying to get to Miami in order to get some modern women? Jose trying to get to Miami and get to some modern women down there in Miami. You trying to go over there and get that Cali sunshine and that weather and be bumping that Nissy Hustle? Jose trying to get over there to California to bump that Nissy Hustle. Texas, all of the Californians moving to Texas. Jose said he trying to get over there to Texas and find out what's happening. He heard Houston is the new Atlanta. Houston is the new Atlanta. Yo, I've never in my life, this is the first news report that I've ever heard of in my life, where the people hate Chicago so much. Man, y'all got some explaining to do, Rack. Hey, the Rack, Chirac, y'all got some explaining to do, the Rack. People don't like what you got going on over there. They say they'd rather be over there in Miami, Texas, and California because Chicago ain't it. That ain't it. This ain't it. This ain't what you want. All you got to do is let people suffer a little bit. Oh, okay. You think that you tough, huh? This is what you need to do to your children. Oh, you think you tough. Oh, your kid keep running away, keep saying that they going to run away. And you keep stopping them at the door. Please don't go. You think you tank? I say go. Go ahead. Be the middle of the winter, be a snowstorm. I'm running away. I open that door, be like, it's cold in them streets. You see them rats down there on that corner? You see them thugs over there right there on the end of that other corner? Pick which one you want to go to. You want to go and sleep in a garbage can, or you want to go over there with the men over there that's rubbing their hands together because they can't wait to get their hands on you. Go ahead and see what happened. Show them a little soft white underbelly. Huh? Go ahead. You tough. Oh, you think you tough. Don't threaten me with a good time. I see a lot of guys, they come up on my platform on Wednesday night, so we gonna cook up tonight. They come up on my platform, man, she keep trying to leave me. Let her go. The streets will not be kind to her. I promise you, there will be gnashing of the teeth. She's going to have to pay her own bills. She's going to have to make sure that she put gas in her own car. Her insurance going to be due. The repo man going to be sitting at her doorstep. The migrants is experiencing it right now. Let her go. Let her feel what the streets look like. But just let her know. Give her to preface the conversation by saying, hey, listen, once you leave, I don't know where you've been. You can't come back. The streets will not be kind to you. The streets will, once you leave out here, you are for the streets forever. Once you leave out, you for the streets forever. It's cold out here. Let her go and test the waters. The first guy that she gonna get her hands on, she gonna be like, oh my God. She gonna make a TikTok. This guy is so much better for me than what it is that I'm used to. He gonna give her that disease. As soon as he had post-nut clarity, he ain't gonna remember her name no more, and then she gonna start hating all men, and then she gonna want to become a lesbian. Lesbian, as my guy Jesse Lee Peterson say, she's want to be a lesbian. Go ahead, you tough. Go on out there, see what the streets want to talk to you like.